Come on and tell your story. Come on and tell your story. Come on and tell your story. Motivated every day. Living in victory every day. Living in victory every day. No matter what they say. No matter what they say. Living in victory every day. Living in victory every day. No matter what they say. Living in victory every day.
Nicole Larsen Live, Living in Victory, every day.
Welcome to Nicole Larsen Live, Living in Victory every day. And on our program today,
I'm honored to have conversations with guests who share their extraordinary, unmatched life experiences, who they are, what hurdles they have crossed, and where their life journey has taken them. Today's guest, among other things, intimates about being raised in a community labeled marginal.
take us back to the beginnings.
Okay, so I think I can remember my childhood as far back, I'd say probably about 4 or 5, actually, because that's kind of dramatic. That's when I would have been raped. So I think that's where my consciousness starts in terms of my childhood and myself. Nicole, we started with sending 50 US, that's 300 TT at the time, to Haiti. It made no sense. I didn't even want to do it because I thought, what difference that could make. And sometimes we undervalue what our contribution is.
Plus, we share financial advice from our expert, lawyer Indira Rampal Chedi, who gives us sound advice regarding charitable donations. Therapeutic advice from Nicole Cadogan-Lewis, medical social worker and therapist. Also, from author June Doyle and panelist Sion Vialva, we get another motivational message and an inspiring song. It promises to be truly an impacting and memorable show, so stay with us.
Gen Style customizes cards, limitless in expressions. For all special occasions, call 1-868-7N-STYLE. Instagram Gen Style Cards TT, Facebook at Gen Style.
Chez Jean Designs in San Fernando provides customized clothing from sassy to corporate, conservative to casual. Email janiskazo@gmail.com or call 793-1668 for consultations.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Live a life of victory and find peace and hope in today's troubled world. Visit us at Holiness Revival Ministries. Call 628-7407 or 622-5826.
This is Nicole Larsen Live. We are living in victory every day. I'm excited about this program. Today, I mean, all my guests are special, and of course, this one is no exception. We're going to be finding out about this young lady from Carenage. How did she reach to the place where she's doing disaster relief for not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but also abroad, you know, places like Haiti, you name it. So, yes, it's going to be a great program, and a good intro to, hi, Avonelle Hector Joseph, how are you?
I'm very fine, and thank you so very much for the opportunity to be here.
It is indeed a pleasure. Now, Avi, remember, we forgive us, people, because we are trying to be very conservative and diplomatic. You know, but in all seriousness, Avi, in putting the intro together, there was so much that I could have said about you that I decided to just say as little as possible, because I'm going to allow you to expand. When we think of Avonelle Hector Joseph, we think of ITNAC, we think of you as a mother, You have two beautiful children and a handsome hubby, and among other things. And you also have people that, how can I put it, they rely on you. You know, when there's anything that's happening in a community, they say, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. No, they don't call Ghostbusters.
But I'm not Casper, though.
But, you know,
yes.
But they call on you, yeah? And I'm saying to myself, boy, what a responsibility. But before all that, before we go into that part, we need to find out about you, Avonelle Hector Joseph, growing up in Carenage, and if you ever thought that you would have become who you are today. Take us back to the beginnings.
Okay, so I think I can remember my childhood as far back, I'd say probably about 4 or 5, actually, because that's kind of dramatic. That's when I would have been raped. So I think that's where my consciousness starts in terms of my childhood and myself. And I remember clearly that I had 2 decent panties. So I would go to school in one, and those days you had the kind of girl thing behind the fridge. I go to school in one, wash it and my socks and put it behind the fridge to dry for the next day. And I remember having a lot. I remember having a lot of luck, but I remember my parents affirming me in who I am, and I always had that love, even though the relationship in the home was challenged. My parents always believed in me, and my mom was a stickler for education. She was among the first black girls to go to St. Joseph Convent, so that was a big deal for her. So back in those days, Island Scholarship was a big deal. So she was just drilling. You had to pass for a certain school. She wanted us to be Island Scholars. So there we were with a latrine. Some days we didn't know where we would get our next meal from. We would gather. We would pray. If we were sick, we would pray and see God heal us. But I just had these dreams that, as I make a joke, I always know that rich would be better because I've been poor. So I know that I wanted to be rich. I know I wanted to do better, but at that time I would think it was more me just wanting to do better for myself. I can't say at that point I was saying, hey, let me go and help other people. I just wanted to come out of what I found myself in and to do better. So
I want to interject here. You speak about your family being close-knit. You speak about a latrine. You brushed over a couple of things, which, we are going to go into detail, and I know that you have no problem with. But can I remember your mother. So you didn't have any other choice but to be who you are in terms of loving people, extending yourself, because you come from good stock.
I want to say that there is this notion that we have to have plenty to give plenty. And a lot of times people say, when I win the lottery, and when this and when this happened, and they give you all the lists before they do. We gave out of what we had. When it was my mother taking in a girl named Jenny, who was a victim. Well, we didn't know words like victims of domestic violence. She man-beaten,
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things you heard growing up. And my mom would hide these people. Now, we had a small house. Part of it was mud. I would have lived in that house. I moved from that house when I got married officially. But we would always find room to give. I remember back in the day when rice would be short and you'd only get a certain percentage of rice you could buy a flour. My mom would still give out of that. And as a child, I kind of resented it because I can understand how my daughter feels sometimes because we don't have. I remember one Sunday going to church and I had a box of green butterfly in my hand to make tea. Maybe that's why I don't drink tea again, I only drink coffee. I was going to make, I remember, I had the cartoon of milk in my hand, Nicole, and somebody came. And my mom, that was as recent as 1988, and she said, give it to me, God will provide it. She gave the box of green carnation to somebody. So she always saw herself as somebody that God was using to bless people. And so that's the kind of ethos that I would have come from.
You shared with me, and I always laugh at that. You said that sometimes you come home, you don't know who's going to be in your bed. And then she said, this is your sister. This is your new sister.
My mother actually went to the shop and came home. We always joke about that. She went to the shop and she came home with a child. He was sleeping in a car and she says, this is Mark, this is your brother. We're like, okay then, So, and right now my children, they're not sure. They say, Mommy, so who's biological? My 11 and she still can't get it right because my mom is dead almost 20 years now. And we still have that deep bond with those that she would have adopted as a close-knit family.
Yeah. You spoke about your early childhood, around what age being raped, Avonelle. And if you notice, when I started to call you Avonelle, that means we're getting serious.
Yes.
Avonelle, How did that affect you? Two questions, two-pronged. And were you able to share with Mommy? Were you able to tell your parents?
I didn't have to tell my parents because I remember, I see the neighbors now. The neighbors, two neighbors, they told my mom. And I remember my mom holding my little brother Brent, and she got the news. I think she didn't know what to do with herself. My father, he knew what to do. Avenge. And, I was telling my daughter, I said, God, because she heard the testimony she was asking, I said, God is so good. Because my dad was actually running the guy down to kill him. And they said, but you're a Christian, because my mom was the leave it to God. And my father was God, and I would handle it. And as my dad was running him down, the Lord had it. I want to say the Lord had it, that his foot stuck in a hole, and he broke his foot. And my dad broke his leg. And so he couldn't continue the pursuit, and then the guy's family moved him out of the neighborhood. So I lived with that. The children in the neighborhood would tease me, pick every cherry and make a whole joke out of it. And it was a big joke, and I guess I thought that I ignored it. It wasn't affecting me. As I got older, I realized it did play on my psyche. And many, many years after, I would have had an encounter with him through somebody who we were asked to help, only to find out that he was the husband of that person. And so I'm actually the godmother of his child, and I've helped them throughout the years. But his wife is now dead, but him and I have never had a conversation,
And that would have been my next question, when you realized, because I'm thinking that God would have brought you all together, full circle, yeah? And you confront this man who abused you as a child, raped you as a child, 5 years old or so. What was going through your mind?
Well, when it happened, his family remained in the community, but they moved him out of the community. So I would have been 5. So it would have been like 30-something years after, or about 40 years after, 30-something years after. So I just wondered where he was. But I'm not occupied with it. I'm going out with my life. I would have gotten deliverance, because rape opens you up to certain spirits, promiscuity and all of that stuff that would have marked my teenage years.
So,
father absenteeism. I'm not making excuses for my deviant behavior, but those are contributing factors. So I didn't hear about him. So the station that I worked at, they would have told me, there's this particular lady, she needs help. She's suffering with whatever. I said, great, let me help. And the lady and we just automatically clicked. Nicole, I remember that day I was by Victoria Square driving. And she said to me, my husband says that he knows you. I don't know, immediately the Spirit of the Lord told me who was the husband. I said, what's the person's name? I said, is it XYZ? She said, oh, you know. So I laughed. I said, you won't believe how well he knows me. And I would have told my mentor, Auntie Beverly, about it. So she had an interface with him first because he needed glasses, and I got glasses for him. And she said to me, she saw him and she said, you can see that life has battered him because he looks very aged. So then I had to go to the house, and I would have had to interface with him over the years. His wife died, his daughter died. I was there with them and stuff. And he has never said, I told myself I won't say anything to her because I didn't think I wanted to put her through that. But people who are discerning, they will always say, what it is when he's around you, he has a certain way.
And I want you to continue because I believe that there's a part of us that likes to hear someone say or acknowledge when they've done wrong. So I want to know if that's how you felt, that you needed to hear, acknowledge what he did. He acknowledged what he did to you. This is Nicole Larsen Live, living in victory every day. No need to tell you to stay with us.
More still to come.
It's something that bothers me in the sense of, you know, I'm out there, Nicole, talking to young people about making the right choices and why waiting matters. I didn't have the choice to wait. That was taken away from me.
Live a life of victory and find peace and hope in today's troubled world. Visit us at Holiness Revival Ministries. Call 628-7407 or 622-5826.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
Nicole Larsen Live, we are living in victory every day. We have Avonelle Hector Joseph, who is with us, sharing her story, her testimony. And just before the break, you were speaking about, you were about to tell us as to when you met the person who would have violated you as a 5-year-old and your expectations.
Yeah, I don't need him to say that he's sorry, but it would have been very nice. And to see the distance that I have gone with him and his family, the house that he lives in, we would have contributed to it. Every Christmas we would go by, and it's only the last couple of Christmases we haven't visited. And not only that, he used to be in the interface where I was he would always find himself being very curt and very rude. So I guess probably it was embarrassment. I don't think that he knew how the thing. And then sometimes we have to forgive people as if we've got the apology that they've never given us. Because some people, they just don't have it in them to ask for forgiveness. And I would imagine that he would have suffered. He had to be uprooted from his family, and he would have lived with his grandmother all the years. And so he would have been further down in the community, passing where his family lives, and not being able to come into the community because of fear of people's interface with him. So I guess he has suffered, and it's not my intentions to make him suffer. But and I'm sorry, you know, because he must. I don't think that he doesn't think that I know, because people have. His sister-in-law came and she said, I asked him what it is. All right, that is wrong. What is there between you and Avonelle that causes that you know?
I think it was difficult for him to acknowledge. It's not as if he doesn't know, but how do you deal with the fact that you violated
something,
a child?
It's
But it's a child.
Yes, it's something that bothers me in the sense of, you know, I'm out there, Nicole, talking to young people about making the right choices and why waiting matters. I didn't have the choice to wait. That was taken away from me. So I say to people, I have never known myself a virgin. Yes, coming to the Lord, I would have attained secondary virginity because, you know, you get that time of abstinence. But he took away that choice from me. And he would have been somebody that my mom... It's not like now. If we try to contextualize it now, like, for example, like I stay home with my siblings and I'm a couple of years older. But you won't do that now. But 30, 40, how much ever years ago, that wasn't anything strange. And so a trust was placed in him as an extended family member, you know. So he would have violated my mom, he would have violated me and stuff.
So the thing is, you are saying that he contributed to your promiscuity.
Again, I'm not making excuses, but rape is a spirit, and it opens certain doorways. And I think too, it sent a message. I spent a lot of time thinking and reflecting. I think it sent a message to a lot of the other guys in the community that I was
easy game.
Yeah. And so that would have left a lot of doorways open for abuse. Sometimes I had to be home because, my mom had to go out and earn a living and stuff. One of my cousins would have molested me in 2018. He came and he said to me, he said, I have something to ask you forgiveness for. And he said, I know you won't remember. I said, no, I haven't forgotten. I think he was kind of hoping that I would. I said, no, I haven't forgotten.
No,
and
I want you to be specific here, because you said your cousin would have molested you, and then you said in 2018, but you meant that he came in 2018.
He came in 2018.
Too.
As a child, he would have molested me.
Yes.
So 30 years, whatever, would have passed. And he's now a Christian. And he's been in jail, in and out and stuff. And he came to me in 2018 and he said, I have something to ask you forgiveness for. And he said, it has bothered me all my life. He said, I don't think you will remember.
When you say yes,
I was wondering if I probably should have just stayed quiet, but I said no. I remember as if it's yesterday. And he asked me to forgive me. I think that's probably the only person who was ever asked forgiveness with that. So then that spirit, apart from it making you promiscuity, it also attaches itself and causes other persons who are predators, pedophiles, whatever you want to call it. It's like a mark on a bullseye on your forehead. This person. That's why we see sometimes people are repeated victims of situations and we judge them. And of course, growing up with my own insecurities, it was kind of like an anomaly. I'm bold and I'm confident, but I had that need to feel loved and to feel affirmed by male figures, because again, I'm not blaming my father. It's just assessing and going through and understanding how the absent daddy missing factor works in the life of a girl. And so those persons, I was giving sex, giving affection to get love. They were giving it, So. Of course, there's no wrong way to meet a right need. So the need or the vacuum in my life was legitimate, but I was seeking to find it through a legitimate need. So I thank God for Jesus that I was able to come to a place, and it's still a journey of being affirmed in who I am as an individual, to the point that I said, listen, if I ever get married, great. If I don't get married, great. And I think when I got to that place, then God would have brought someone into my life, and I say to him, I say, babe, if you married me a couple of years ago, I would have been a leaking basket. Because the more you pour into me, you have to just keep, and that makes people who love you tired. Because it doesn't matter what they do, it's never enough.
So you're saying that we need to deal with our own issues, our own baggage, even before you go into marriage.
Otherwise, we put an unnecessary burden on. That's why a lot of marriages are. That's why a lot of marriages are failing. And then the person who's guilty of not loving, they leave frustrated because in their mind, I have done what else I could do? And so we can't God is God. And even though they are men of God, they are not God men. And so we can't put that responsibility to feel secure and affirmed. It's too much of a burden. And that's why marriages, relationships, boss relationship, pastor, the relationships break under the weight of unrealistic expectations.
It's important to have people like your good self who are doing great things, helping people, not looking for any accolades, but getting them. But we see the face and we understand the journey, because often we may think that she good to go, man. She never had any issues, but it's because you've had those issues and continue to, because it's a journey that you can be so empathetic, you can relate, you can go out there and make sure that somebody doesn't fall into the same situation that you have. And if even they have, that they come out, because that's important. Avi made the point about forgiveness, and ideally we would love to have somebody say, Nicole or Avi or John or whoever, I've done this, please forgive me. But in light of not hearing that, we have to go forward. We have to love them anyhow. I know it's difficult, because if you sit down there and wait for that person and they never do,
what are you going to do? Forgiveness? Yeah. Forgiveness is not yours to keep. You have to give it. And I think the worst things that have been done to me I've never been asked forgiveness for. I mean, I can go on and on, and then, so a lot of people, what we've done over the years is that if you tell somebody you need to forgive John, wrong person, Jane, they're going to say, they're going to tell you all the reasons why. And it's not to take away from the pain that you felt. It's not to take away from the seriousness of the act or to deny the act. But after you face this, after you acknowledge it, you have to go on. In my book, Lessons my mom taught me, one of the things she taught me, and I thank God, acid Unforgiveness is like acid. It destroys the vessel in which it is stored in.
Yeah.
And I have made a decision from since I was a child. I said, there's nothing anybody can do me that I can't forgive them for. And you make the decision, and in that moment, you have to manage the decision. Because if you wait until that moment when you feel that pain, Nicole, and it's raw and it's ripping your heart, you will not want to forgive. What will override you in that moment, in your humanness, will be vengeance. It will be vindictive, but you've got to make that decision. I'm going to forgive you, whatever. And then we draw on the grace of God, because it is only the grace of God that can, you know, cause us to look beyond that pain.
We can't do it on our own.
No, we can't.
We definitely can't. And when we come back, we'll continue on this forgiveness train. I like it. And we'll also continue as to how ITNAC was started. Yes, living in victory every day. Stay with us.
More still to come.
You were mentoring a particular child. And Avonelle, I think he would have died.
He was murdered.
He was murdered. And that mash you up to the core.
And so since then, I've lost over 20 young men.
Yeah. But was that the catalyst that
It
made
was.
you think, hey, I gotta do something here,
Well,
man?
I can't lie, it really was the catalyst. I thought my first expression was something needed to be done.
Gen Style customizes cards, limitless in expressions. For special occasions, call 1-868-7N-STYLE. Instagram Gen Style Cards TT, Facebook at Gen Style.
Live a life of victory and find peace and hope in today's troubled world. Visit us at Holiness Revival Ministries. Call 628-7407 or 622-5826.
Chez Jean Designs in San Fernando provides customized clothing from sassy to corporate, conservative to casual. Email janiskazo@gmail.com or call 793-1668 for consultations.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Welcome back. This is Nicole Larsen Live. We are living in victory every day. Our guest is Avonelle Hector Joseph, and just before the break, we were talking about forgiveness and how it led you to forming ITNAC. Did that have anything to do with it? Because your whole life has been a journey. I mean, we don't have enough time to discuss all that has transpired in your life, but I'm glad that we can touch on a little bit, at least a couple notes. I want to find out about ITNAC and how that was birthed. However, I want to go back to the forgiveness thing, because I firmly believe that one of the reasons why, Avi, we have to forgive people, because we don't know how we offend others. We can sit here and say, well, this person do me and this person, and I'm waiting for them, but then how are we affecting people? Maybe we have hurt people without knowing, you know?
And that,
so
calls,
why shouldn't we
that
forgive?
calls for humility. One of the drawbacks of social media with all of these memes, as Christians, we have to be careful not to be dragged into it. Because a lot of the memes always projecting about the haters and the other people, so that we do not own responsibility, and so that we have to reprogram ourselves. So I have to be conscious that there are people I'm hurting, and even though with my good intentions, omission, commission, and always be in that place where even while we are hurting, to listen to the Holy Spirit, to see if there's 1% that I might be responsible for. And the 1% that I am responsible for, as hard as it is, because I have been infected with the 99% of pain, and that's really weighed me down, and that's in front of me, ask the Holy Spirit to help me. And it's not easy, but it's a discipline to move from the pain that I feel, not to deny it, because if I deny it, I won't be healed, to ask to see how I can ask that other person's forgiveness. And I'm asking them forgiveness not because I want them to then forgive me or I tell you, sorry, Nicole, no, you're supposed to say, oh gosh, Abigail are wrong here. No, I ask you forgiveness and I leave it to God through the Holy Spirit to convict you. And you know, I've seen time people say, you know, I remember one time this person had a really big flare-up. I get mad, I dropped down on the ground, I was so mad with them, they really get me upset.
Afi, just now.
What?
What do you mean you dropped down on the ground?
I tell you, I dropped
you still
so
doing
mad.
that?
Yes. I dropped down on the ground, I rolled. I started getting mad because she really got mad. When I was on the ground, she said, why are you on the ground? Just so. You're a woman of God. Do you think that's the kind of behavior you should behave with? So I went home and I was feeling condemned. I was really mad at myself. Holy Spirit said, go back and apologize. I went, I humbled myself. I said, I'm so sorry. She said, okay, thank you. She never said to this day, I am sorry for what I did. I should not have done what I think. I provoked you. Nothing, nothing. I walked away. I said, God, she's not real. That's all I could have said. But it wasn't about her. It wasn't about me trying to say, well, you know, if she didn't say that, I wouldn't have done it. So forgiveness is really the gift that we give to ourselves.
It is. I think it is. And sometimes it's not even other people who have done us. I think that we too have hurt people and we're not willing to acknowledge that we hurt. So we pretend as though, okay, we hunky-dory and it's always somebody else's fault.
And sometimes we genuinely
not taking responsibility.
Don't know. We genuinely don't. That's why sometimes I remember saying to somebody, I'm sorry if I hurt you. People say, but if you don't know what you're apologizing for, I'm apologizing for the possibilities that I might have hurt you. Because people say that's not an apology. It is, because the sin of omission. If I go to God and say, God, please forgive me because there's things I should have done that I didn't know. And I don't always know what I should do. Nobody knows exactly what we should or shouldn't do. And that's why we confess our sins daily. And the Bible says, confess your faults one to each other. And so we have to create an environment that people can come to us and ask us for forgiveness. Some of us, we are hard to ask for forgiveness. It's not the time when people come, you know, you go up in school, they want to rub their nose. So if we create a culture of forgiving and accepting forgiveness, we will all be healed because a lot of us are carrying around things. People go into the grave with stuff, you know what I mean?
And toting.
Toting. Nicola doesn't be, that statement doesn't become you. You're toting.
I know, I just wanted to sound kind of cool.
Okay, toting.
Oh my goodness, living in victory every day, the one and only Avonelle Hector Joseph. Listen, we have to get to Itnak because, can I tell a little bit of the story about Itnak, can I?
Sure.
All right, great. You're supposed to say, take it away, Nicole.
Take it away, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Avonelle. And so you talk about helping the community, you talk about being empathetic, you talk about going through all these things in your life that would have brought you to a certain stage. However, I do recall there was one, I think you were mentoring, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were mentoring a particular child. And Avonelle, I think he would have died.
He was murdered.
He was murdered. And that mash you up to the core.
And so since then, I've lost over 20 young men.
Yeah. But was that the catalyst that made you think, hey, I got to do something here, man?
Well, I can't lie. Well, it was the catalyst. I thought my first expression was something needed to be done. I can't lie. My first thought was
somebody else had to do it.
Yeah, because we identify the problems, you know, and if I bring, that's my brother would say, that's my contribution. I made the suggestion, you know, I identify the problem. My auntie was saying, why don't you do something? I was like, huh? Because I didn't think I had what it takes. I mean, I was trying to be rich. As I told you, I grew up in poverty. Going off into some missionary life, that wasn't on my bucket list. But once we started in Maloney, it took a life of its own, beyond anything that we can imagine. You know, I really felt like if we failed the young people, we had a responsibility. So where we are today, to the best of my knowledge, we are the biggest local NGO in Trinidad and Tobago. We are not an arm of any international agency, but as an indigenous organization, birthed right here in the nation of Trinidad and Tobago with reach Kenya. We have property in Kenya, Haiti, projects in India, all over the world, St. Vincent, Bahamas, happening simultaneously as we speak. And then we have the land in Port of Spain is already paid for the city outreach. We have the 3 houses that are complete, and one will be open next week, that we provide transitional housing, and we are working on the safe house. Well, that's a lot of work to do because, you know, running a safe house is a whole different mechanism.
So when you first started, when this vision was birthed, did you think, God, is me you're talking to? This is too big.
I didn't know what it was. He kind of set me up. This is what I envisioned, that we would do 3 rallies, like we were in Maloney, Mova/Beetham, and maybe Carnage. And like you have an assignment, you do the assignment, and you make Nicole, you know, I was in business. So I'm thinking, God knows I'm a business person, you know what I'm saying? So I can't do all of this stuff because this is not what I'm called for. I want to do these 3 things and go back to my life. And next thing, we were getting calls from Haiti, and we were getting calls to go to Guyana, and then
Tell us about your affiliation with Haiti. You have a
Haiti,
passion
sick and where that means
for,
Haiti's in my heart. My daughter's second name is Haiti. It was actually her first name, but her dad liked Imara, which means strong, firm, confident. I would have studied Haiti growing up, and I had a fascination with these Haitian people. These people that defied the great army of Napoleon and whoever else. I said, what that means? But I was afraid and scared because you have all this misinformation about voodoo and power. So I was like, heck, I ain't going there, you know? So I would have seen a picture of some children in Haiti. And normally if you were watching back in the day, they didn't have all this internet and location. So if you you saw something in National Geographic, you would feel compassion, but those are abstract people far out. How are you going to get to somebody in Africa and Haiti? You don't know. But it was somebody, Peter Leons, who was actually there. So he knew the exact location for those children that I saw without underwear and in the ground and stuff. So I felt in my heart I needed to do something. But my doing something meant I just wanted to give, send stuff.
Not go, just send.
No, not go. And then they started to pester, for want of a better word, me to come. So I said to myself, I will go that one time. And when I go that one time, they will leave me alone, and that will be it. Over 200 times, 20 years, still counting. My heart is very much in Haiti, and right now it's very pained. We've got schools, we have our own base, a very big property. The 2 houses on it. Any other missionary group that wants to go to Haiti, they can stay there, truck, bus. God has just, I think God, Nicole, God, not trying to be spooky, but God is just want a yes. And once you give him that yes, he will do some things that you're going to have to step back and say.
It has to be God.
Yeah, because I can't do it. I don't have 2 pennies to knock.
He has expanded your borders more than ever. I mean, you talk about Haiti, but then there's different parts of India that you've been to. I mean, you name it. And it's almost as though when you hear of a disaster, you decide, something in your mind telling you, we have to go.
Yes, we've given ourselves a 48 to 72-hour response for the Caribbean and a little bit wider for other regions. And sometimes, if we are not able to go, like when they had the floods in Mozambique, 2020, there was this big gas fire that escalated in Central Republic of Africa. So we immediately align ourselves either directly or through another partner with somebody that carries our ethos on the ground, low cost of aid distribution, and then we will begin to identify, what's cost per family or water, whatever, and we begin to mobilize and get the funds. So if even though we are not on the ground, we are funneling the efforts of those and helping them. Because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that is one of the things, glory be to God, Bible says, let men see a good work and glorify Father. That's one of the strengths that we had that trumped the UN or the other agencies in Haiti in 2010. Because we had that grassroots network, we were able to just go in and reach the people.
It's important for us to find out about this girl from Carnage that is doing so much. And even out of your pain, you are able now to learn and grow and extend yourself to this degree. I want you to give some tips and some guidelines to anybody listening and saying, yes, I have a heart for missions. I want to go out there. Or the young girl or boy that is saying, I have been so misused and abused, I don't even think I want to amount to anything. I'm still angry.
I would want to encourage people to believe the fact that you are still alive is proof positive that God is not finished with you and that his purpose. The fact that we are born winners by the very virtue of the sperm that contributed to our existence, beating back all the others. I have this visual of L.I.V.E just running, beating back all the others and saying, yeah, we did it. Okay? Sorry, Nicole, to be so graphic. So it might seem funny, but these are the things you are defying the odds. And so we survived to this point, and why are we here? So we need to find the why our existence. It might seem a complicated thing, but that thing that burns in your heart when other people see it and they turn the TV, they ignore it. What do you lie down at night, and what do you think of? How do you perceive a better world, and what do you see your part in the perceiving of the better world? And that is what you are here for. Regardless of one of the things we do, Nicole, at the depletes how we see ourselves as we continue to look at ourselves through the eyes of people who abused us. Maybe our parents said the wrong thing and our teachers said the wrong thing, and I've had to continuously accept that there's some people who see me a particular way. It doesn't matter if I become the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, they will still see me that way. And I have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with how people see you and move beyond that. And that's not always easy. So look at yourself through the eyes of God that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. If it means stand up in the mirror and saying, hey, girl, you're good looking, hey, boy, I'm good looking. And stop listening to those negative self-talk. And of course, we talk to ourselves a lot more than anybody. And find that thing in your heart, what it is that is really tugging you. And don't wait until you can do something grand. Sometimes it might be that one thing. Write a poem that you can put on social media to garner hope. And start to build, because a lot of times people want to get to the big things. Nicole, we started with sending 50 US, that's 300 TT at the time, to Haiti. It made no sense. I didn't even want to do it because I thought, what difference that could make? And sometimes we undervalue what our contribution is. So start that ripple, and not to be cliche, but let us be the change that we want to be, and find other people that are doing what you want to do. Check their strengths, learn from our mistakes that I have made over the years, so that you can start and propel faster than I was, because you don't have to repeat mistakes that people who have done this work before, that has cost us money and cost us time and that type of thing.
Yeah. It's been a delight chatting with you, Avi. I am listening and I'm just reenacting again with you the small beginnings, and look what the Lord has done.
When they used to buff the people.
And when
say,
what?
Remember you used to buff people who used to say, why don't you do something locally? You used to say, why don't you do something?
Exactly.
But these are some of the same people who said it had no poor people in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Some years ago I was helping the poor people.
Yeah.
Then last year it had no poor people.
Yeah.
So
I used to put them in the place.
I remember that.
I never see more. Listen, we want to find out, anybody listening and viewing and wanting to know, I want to be part of this. I want to see how I can make a difference. They can, of course, get you on social media and wherever else.
Yes. Well, we have 5 locations in St. James, so they can email us at itnac.missions@gmail.com or 1-868-394-2042. That's the area code, and 394-2042. We will love to partner with you. People have so many skills, Nicole, that they can bring to the table. It's not always material. Like if you're a counselor, if you're a builder, we always helping persons with, building. We'd be glad to have you on board.
It's been a pleasure, Avi. Love you plenty.
Love
Why are you laughing?
Because we didn't bust out laughing and spoil the interview.
Living in victory every day. Nicole Larsen Live.
Nicole.
More still to come. Our expert attorney at law, Indira Rampal-Chedi, author June Doyle, and panelist Sion Villalba.
Gen Style customizes cards, limitless in expressions. For special occasions, call 1-868-7N-STYLE. Instagram Gen Style Cards TT, Facebook at Gen Style.
Chez Jean Designs in San Fernando provides customized clothing from sassy to corporate, conservative to casual. Email janiskazo@gmail.com or call 793-1668 for consultations.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
Live a life of victory and find peace and hope in today's troubled world. Visit us at Holiness Revival Ministries. Call 628-7407 or 622-5826. Let's hear from today's expert, Nicole Cadogan-Lewis.
Hi, my name is Nicole Cadogan-Lewis, and I'm here to share on the topic of adverse childhood events and how these events can cause traumatic impact on our lives. These traumatic events can come in many different forms. It can come in physical abuse or physical neglect, emotional abuse or emotional neglect, sexual abuse. They can be domestic violence. It can be mental illness in a family, drugs and the use of alcohol, and many, many others. These traumatic childhood experiences affect us psychologically. That is, they affect the way we think, the way we perceive things around us. So trauma changes the brain. They affect us emotionally. We get a heightened sense of anxiety, or we get that deep, deep-seated shame. We experience depression, anger, distrust, and fear. It also affects us physically in our bodies. Sometimes persons experience hypertension, diabetes, pains of all kinds. There are so many ailments that can result as a result of the trauma. Some of these ailments even bring on stroke and heart attack. So it's very important to treat with these adverse childhood events so that they do not have that negative impact on us. Oftentimes, though, this goes unchecked, and what happens is that the body forms a blueprint. In our mind, we have a blueprint for how life should be. So it affects how we interact and the expectations that we have of our relationships around us. The world is not seen as a safe space, and the brain then goes into survival mode. When the brain goes into survival mode, it causes the body alarm system to not function the way it should because it's been in this mode for too long. And what happens is it becomes very exhausting and very tiring. So what shall we do? What can we do? We should seek professional help. We should seek the services of a trained social worker, counselor, psychologist, mental health provider who can walk us through this journey of healing. They will provide a safe space for us to share our story. When we share our story, we give ourselves back our voice that was stolen from us in childhood. They give that support that we need as we express our thoughts and our feelings. They provide or supply tools to help us cope in a healthy way. This allows us to acknowledge that the offense occurred and that it really did happen. It helps us to not suppress or ignore, because when we suppress and ignore what happens to us, we cause even more stress in the body. It helps us to walk to that path where we can come to a point of forgiveness, which is very difficult, especially the greater the offense or the more impactful the offense. And it helps us to create healthy boundaries so that we can protect ourselves mentally, emotionally, and physically. And also, it helps us to identify healthy support systems so that as we navigate this healing journey, we are able to get persons to walk alongside with us so that we can get our healing and get the support and all that we require to proceed in a healthy manner. I hope that this conversation that I had with you would encourage you to seek the help if this is what you have experienced in your life. You know, it's just a phone call away. Reach out and ask someone for help. And I hope that it provided the information on the impact of adverse childhood experiences. Thank you for listening.
Today's expert, attorney at law Indira Rampol Chedi, gives us some sound legal advice.
Thank you, Nicole, for the opportunity to share some tips and insights with your audience. Hello, my name is Indira Rampol Chedi. I am an attorney at law with over 20 years experience, and I will be sharing on some legal aspects of charitable donations. I will start with non-profit organizations. According to the Non-Profit Organization Act, a non-profit organization includes a body of persons established primarily for the promotion of a religious, charitable, or educational purpose, which raises or disburses funds for that purpose and carries on its business without pecuniary gain to its members except as reasonable compensation for services rendered. There are significant benefits to operating one's charitable or ministerial work under a non-profit organization. For example, certain exemptions from taxes and duties. You may therefore wish to consider whether your activities may qualify for you to so do. If you are interested, please note that the Act lays out the process and requirements for registration. My second tip, deeds of covenant. Most of us give tithes and offerings. Are you aware that a tax deduction is allowed for such payments through the execution of a deed of covenant for a covenanted donation of up to 15% of your income? Such a deed may be made in favor of an ecclesiastical, charitable, or educational institution. The receiving organization must be a registered charitable institution with the Board of Inland Revenue. This is a wise decision in that it results in your paying less taxes and therefore having more money in your pocket. My last tip, estate planning for charitable donations. We can't take it with us, but we can ensure that after we depart this earth, at least a portion of our assets continues to be used in ministry. If this is your desire, you may include such a provision in your will under the guidance of your attorney at law. Of course, you would also have to assign the responsibility for carrying out your wishes to a trustworthy person. That's all I have for now. I hope these tips will be of benefit to you in making wise financial decisions.
And now some motivation and inspiration from the desk of June Doyle.
A quote, life is like a book. Some chapters are sad, some are happy, and some are exciting. But if you never turn the page, you will never know what the next chapter has in store for you. End of quote. Don't be afraid to move on. God knows your name. He knows your birth parents. He knows your address. And He sees each tear that falls. And He answers every time you call. When you're over your head, He promises to be there with you. When you're in rough waters, you will not go down. When you're between a rock and a hard place, it wouldn't be the dead end. God is making you strong before making you happy. Sometimes you just need to breathe a prayer and trust the process. Do not fear, for you will not be ashamed or disgraced. You will not be put to shame. God always leads His children along. Some through the water, some through the flood, some through the fire, but all through His blood. Some through great sorrow, but God gives us song in the night season and all the day long. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. John 14:27. This is June Doyle, author and motivational speaker, signing out. Keep hope alive. Let's make the world a better place for you and for me and for everyone.
We thank all our guests today. ITNAC founder Avonelle Hector Joseph for sharing her compelling story of poverty, faith, and forgiveness. Legal advice from attorney-at-law Indira Rampold-Chedi. Nicole Cadogan Lewis, medical social worker and therapist. Motivation from author June Doyle and an uplifting instrumental from pianist Sion Vialva. Thanks to you for allowing me to share yet another encouraging episode with you. Until next time, it's Nicole Larsen Live, living in victory every day.